尊长法师、诸位法师，菩萨、阿弥陀佛，早安。不知道你们看到这个会想到什么，但是我会用英文来告诉大家。Well, that's the title for the talk today, and this seems to be small, but it's actually very meaningful to me. And let me tell you why I picked it. Well, it all started in 2023 when I first participated in this event. This isn't the original title. The original title was supposed to be this. It was all a misunderstanding. I had my schoolmate actually help me submit the title, and she didn't understand why I put 3 dots at the end, so she just didn't know what that is. So then she put something that more familiar to her. But then I decided to keep it. Once I saw that, I found that this is making this title more interesting. It actually put a question within the question. You're wondering what is in that box. And when I first saw that box, I thought of something else. Let me show you. Actually, looks like a frame. And first, after that presentation, it actually gave me a lot of inspiration. I was thinking about, wow, we're actually seeing things within the frame most of the time. And through that frame, I see a lot of blockage, really limiting my view. I only see what's within it. I don't really get to see the bigger picture. Even though I zoom it out, I get to see the bigger picture, but it's still something blocking the whole picture. And even though you think you're seeing everything, not really, because it's actually just a picture. And from this, I actually see cause and conditions, because everything is changing. Because if there's no sunset, well, maybe it's a sunrise. You don't know that. All kinds of possibility, you get to see that view. And with the color, if you stand long enough, you will see it change. And then from the second year, which is last year, I gave a presentation. I talked about my personal story where I got bullied at work. And where I mentioned that at the end, I said, can one make peace with what was in that box was bully? Originally thought the person who bullied me was a bully. But then I later found out that no, at the end, I think that person was just my peer, not a bully. So my thought changed after I understand her. I let go of my ego. So then this path, this corner brackets gave me a new meaning, and it actually became like a reminder. Every time I see it, it will remind me to think outside the box. Don't limit myself. But I often do. And it's hard. And even doing a presentation, prepping for this presentation, I've been doing it a lot. And let me show you what I mean. And these are all the thoughts that came up during my preparation. It's all somewhat negative, because I was like, this seems simple, but then this is actually a hard topic for me. How can I actually able to tell people what I learned from it? And what am I really able to teach, show how this is, how is it related to Buddha's teaching? And I really got stuck. And this kept showing up in my mind. And for a while, and I was like, what should I do? When you're stuck, you cannot think of anything, even though you tried. Luckily, last week, we were at a monastery, the Nongchansi, and I was able to put this thought aside. I just said, you know what, I'll just focus on my Buddha's name chanting for a week. And before we started the chanting, I found a clue what I need to talk about today. There was an exhibit. It's a gift for me as at least I found. It's a diagram from Master Sheng Yang. If you see on the left, it's actually handwritten by Master Sheng Yang. When I saw this, I was like stunned. And what caught my attention was this method. And I was like, wow, it's right there. This is a method that I want to talk about. And it's something that I have been actually using. And actually it's the third one that I wanted to talk about. Scattered mind and delusion is actually best for practicing. Doesn't that title already intriguing? And what actually caught my attention was the second stage. And I will further tell you what it is. Let me go further. Start with the first one. The first one is actually talk about faith in present thoughts. The delusion mind instantly embodies the merits and virtues of all Buddhas. What the key word here is actually faith. It's actually trust. So Master Sheng Yang mentioned in his book, Wisdom of 100, he mentioned that faith is actually the foundation of learning. And he gave a very good example. He said that you choose to read a book, you would actually just naturally believe it. You trust it. You wouldn't just read the book without trust. If you read it without trust, you will actually suffer during your reading. You will not able to go through the whole book. And then what the merits and virtues really mean. The sixth patriarch, Huineng, he explained that he actually saying that the merits actually first to seeing one's Buddha nature, and then the humility from within, uninterrupted mindfulness, and then freed from pride and ego. What I see from this is the humility and the freed of pride and ego. That's actually compassion and wisdom. And then the virtues is the practicing equality and free from attachments. That is actually same thing, compassion and wisdom. And this link, for me, for my thinking, is actually, it holds not just compassion and wisdom, but it actually have harmonies and respectfulness, just like our school, I forgot what they call, 校训. And then the second step, based on looking at that, doesn't it remind you of something? It reminded me of the 4-step methods. And from my previous presentation from last year, that was what I used to face my trouble, and I was able to walk out of it. And then I'm looking at this, and the key word here is to observe. It's an observing the deluded thoughts. So after you have faith in the method, you have faith that you can actually overcome. You have the ability within as a Buddha. Then your next stage is actually moving on to observe your deluded thoughts. And let's take a look at it. What are we really observing? And what do you think the deluded thought is? What Master Sheng Yen tells us is that actually all active thoughts, and it actually comes in two different categories. The first one is actually the fine mindfulness. And what is the mindfulness is actually when we actually using our method, such as counting breath. And then the distracting thought is most of us facing. It's that distracting our attention, that moving away from our method. So how are we able to stay on focus is to use the method to observe. When you actually have the distracting thoughts, you accept it. And then you examine it. You know that you actually have this thoughts that is actually distracting you. Now let it go. And then the last stage is to observe and experience this whole process. And what it actually leads you, it will lead you to mental clarity. And then from there, it will reach to a pure action and speech. And then last, it will have a tranquil environment. And how does that work? I was thinking. So then I looked it up, and Master Sheng Yen said that it actually has two important key words here is to first have faith, which is what I mentioned at the beginning. The first step is to have faith. Once you believe that you can overcome this, that you can actually clear up your thoughts, then you will be able to move forward with the methods. And the determination is to keep you moving. And what's the take from this is that at the end, once you actually take the 3 of these stages, you will reach to the Pure Land. And how does that work? I quoted from the author from this book. It mentioned that use manifesting great influence through compassion and dissolve the attachment within wisdom. So what is compassion is when you actually caring for others and not just for yourself, and you let go of your ego. And then how you dissolving the attachment, the wisdom. The wisdom is when you actually gain all the experience from every time you're actually able to find that you got distracted from the distracting thoughts, the deluded thoughts, and you can actually be able to get back to your mindfulness. And then this is my conclusion. I found that the Pure Land is actually full of compassion and wisdom, but it's not something that you need to look for. It's actually from the virtues. So it's when you realize that delusion is intangible and emptiness, and virtues and merits will be naturally unfold. Thank you.